But I just think the question needs to be asked: why are you? Who are you boxing for? Why are you doing this? And is it to impress someone? Is it to keep on the good side? I don't know what it is.
You have to be mentally disturbed in your head. Yeah.
You have to be mentally disturbed.
Yeah, because you have to understand.
Well, to take the fight in the first place.
Yeah, because when I saw him,
I actually think he's a tricky fight. I think he's.
It started on live TV with a cold shot across the bow from Tony Bellew. No fluff, no fake respect, just a hard dose of reality aimed straight at Moses Itauma. Bellew's warning was as blunt as a body shot. There's no such thing as an easy night with Dillian Whyte. You don't coast, you don't...
For the attributes he possesses and what he's willing to go through, you can't have an easy night. He's going to put it on you. So the only way, the easiest it can possibly be is if you cop.
Don't play for points, and you don't cruise through the early rounds looking pretty. You deal with pain. Relentless, grinding, suffocating pain. Bellew spelled it out, missed that perfect early shot on Whyte, and you'll find yourself drowning in deep waters before you even realize the tide's turn.
Look, Moses is an exceptional talent. You know, he's been in the game a long time. He's got a very, long-standing amateur record and pedigree as well.
Against Whyte, time isn't your friend. Every second you're still standing in there. He's closing the space, leaning on you, forcing you to fight his fight. For Moses, it was a reality check disguised as pre-fight chat, the kind of truth young prospects often learn too late.
I make Itauma the favourite just because Dylan Whyte hasn't boxing forever. Dylan Whyte's not been active at Itauma, so I make Itauma the favourite based on that, but Dylan Whyte is experienced, he can punch. No result would surprise me, but I would go with Itauma.
Late, then Eddie Hearn stepped up. On the surface, it was a compliment. He reminded everyone of Moses' decorated amateur career, his impressive rise, the clean sheet. But behind the words, the implication was clear. When you hype a fighter this hard, the drop from the top...
Was thinking about this earlier, Umar, and I was thinking that next week in Riyadh, Dillian needs to try and get in Moses' head in the fight week. And that might mean an aggressive assault at the press conference. It might mean
is a long way down. If Moses falters now, it won't just be a loss. It'll be a very public, very harsh fall from grace. In this game, when the spotlight's this bright, failure doesn't just sting, it scars. Dave Allen took a more measured stance. He leaned towards Moses for the win, citing Whyte's time out of the ring. Rust is real.
Because I think he understands the importance of this fight. I mean, what it means to him in his career. So, it's all about now going out now, and it's like all about bullets and gun smoke.
After all, but Allen refused to dismiss the danger. YT might have miles on the clock, but even in rust, he carries knockout power and a kind of fight-hardened experience you simply can't fake. For Moses, that means one slip, one mistimed move could flip the script instantly, turning an expected showcase into a brutal lesson he'll never forget. And let's not sugarcoat it. Some think Moses is more fragile than the hype suggests. That's the whisper. That's the doubt. YT doesn't even need to wait for the first bell to test it. If the rumors are true, a few well-timed jabs at the press conference could crack him mentally before he even laces up the gloves. The truth is, Moses is untested at this level.
It's a very difficult fight for him. It's a very difficult fight for him. He can't afford to bite on Itauma's triggers and feints. He's got to land something early to get some respect off of Moses as well. And it's called the body snatcher. I think he's got to dig that body. He's got to try and take away the sharpness from Itauma by investing.
He's never been in with a man who can bring real heavyweight heat every minute of every round. YT's mind games are just as sharp as his left hook. If Moses can't stand firm under the mental barrage, the physical battle might already be lost. Buddy McGirt sees it clearly. His take, this isn't a sparring session. This isn't schoolboy boxing. This is war. YT, he says, is ready to walk through hell to get the win. And that's the difference. Moses' career so far has been built on easy nights, clean, controlled wins, where he's never been dragged into the trenches. YT's resume is a scrapbook of dogfights, the kind where you walk away with scars, and sometimes with the win because you refuse to fold.
I believe if Dillian gets it right, he can beat any heavyweight in the world. You know, he's another fighting man that believes in himself, and is mentally very strong. Mentally very, very strong man. He just has to get it right on the night. And this is the heavyweight business. You know, the fact that he'll be the underdog, that will motivate him and push him to do what he knows that he can, and that's get.
Dave Coldwell put it even plainer. Moses isn't built for a 12-round dogfight with YT, not yet. His flashy style works in short bursts, but once YT starts digging to the body, and he will, that sharpness will drain like air from a punctured tire. Body shots are the great equalizer. They don't just hurt, they steal your legs, sap your confidence, and drop your guard low enough for the right hand upstairs to crash home. Moses has been feeding on opponents who stand at range, who let him dictate the terms. YT won't. YT will walk through that range, get chest to chest, press, lean, maul, and make every second uncomfortable. And when round 5 rolls around, and Moses is gasping...
You know, look, it's a good fight to make. Dillian Whyte's got the experience. He's also... he can punch, he's strong, he's a big unit. But can he negate the speed, the power and the ferocity of this young heavyweight coming? And he gives angles. He's a good boxer as well. So that's the thing. You've got experience against somebody who's up and coming that hasn't been tested yet, because he's so sharp, so deadly with his punch.
For air, looking across at a man who refuses to back up. That's when YT takes over. That's when he breaks you down piece by piece. YT's confidence isn't hollow. When his manager says he can beat any heavyweight in the world, it comes from a ledger of battles fought against the best. Joshua, Povetkin, Parker, Rivas, and more. He's been hit by elite punchers, outboxed by skilled movers, but never mentally broken. Moses, on the other hand, has never been in a fight where his heart, lungs, and will were tested at the same time. YT thrives in those moments. He's not just comfortable under the lights, he's at his best. Peter Fury summed it up perfectly.
Interesting to see how much that Dillian Whyte has left. And could this be potential? I think it does have the potential to do what Martin McCauley did to Jared Anderson. Maybe it's too early, or maybe he passes with flying colours. And that's why you got to watch it and find out. But one thing I will say about Moses is he's a very good fighter, good little boxer, good puncher, and a lovely kid as well. It's like a sponge.
This is experience versus youthful flash. Heavyweight boxing isn't just about speed and angles. When a 250-pound man is leaning on you, mauling you in the clinch, roughing you up inside, those angles disappear. YT knows how to smother speed, how to cut the ring, how to turn a boxing match into a brawl. And if Moses can't adapt, if he can't find answers fast, it's going to be a long, punishing night. Tyson Fury added his own layer of doubt. The undefeated heavyweight king doesn't throw out warnings lightly. His words, "Maybe it's too early," were the polite way of saying Moses might not be ready for this kind of war. Tyson's praise was genuine, but the warning was louder. Raw talent doesn't stop a man who keeps coming forward after taking your best shot. Because that's the gulf Moses is facing, the gap between promise and proven. And that gap only gets wider when the man in front of you has been forged.
I think Itauma has the goods. I really do. And I do think Dillian Whyte will get sacrificed like a lamb, but I don't think he's a sacrificial lamb. I think he's an old head who still feels that, you know what, I'm gonna bring in the old school and get rid of the new school and let everybody know that this guy Itauma has no business in the ring with me. Now, if you ask me what happens in that fight, I think Dillian Whyte gets tranquilized. But stop with all this crap about Moses Itauma as a hype job. Dillian Whyte's over the hill. I tell you what, if you said I had to pick one, is Moses Itauma a hype job?
In battles you can't simulate in a gym. Some have already written YT off, over the hill, finished, there to be taken. But those words ignore the reality of his career. His losses came against elite opposition. Moses, in contrast, has been spoon-fed a steady diet of safe opponents. None of them could prepare him for YT's mix of physicality, unpredictability, and veteran cunning. The pressure's not on YT. It's all on Moses. He's the one being sold as the future of the division. He's the one the promoters are pushing. If he cracks under that weight, if YT smells blood, the same pundits calling him the next big thing will be the first to label him overrated. Boxing is unforgiving like that. Simon Jordan cut through the noise. Promoters wouldn't put Moses in with YT unless they felt safe, and that
I think it's a great fight, but it'll be fascinating to see how Moses goes against Dillian. I don't think they put him in against Dillian Whyte if they think there's real jeopardy for them. I think they might get a few rounds and get asked a few more questions than possibly they've been asked by Marius Wack and Dempsey McKean. But I don't think
that's exactly the kind of arrogance that can backfire. YT is not Mark McKean or Kevin Walker. Not even close. He's dangerous, battle-hardened, and unpredictable. He can look sluggish for 3 rounds, then detonate a fight-ending shot without warning. Moses's handlers might think YT's age and inactivity have dulled him, but they're forgetting the oldest truth in heavyweight boxing. One punch changes everything. YT has the experience to make Moses doubt himself, to lure him into ugly exchanges, to exploit every defensive lapse. Those who dismiss YT because he's not much more than McKean or Walker have clearly never stood in front of him when he's loading up. Moses is about to find out the hard way. Andrew McCart pulled the curtain back on the real reason this fight's happening. Business. This isn't a carefully calculated step up.
I mean, I like the fight. The reason being is because Moses Itauma, we've been saying now, is that guy. He needs that test. He needs that step up. And I think Dillian Whyte is that guy. Dillian Whyte's probably found it hard now to get that big fight. He's probably said, I'll fight Moses Itauma if you give me X amount of money. And that's probably why this...
It's a gamble, driven by money and perceived opportunity. YT knows exactly what's being said about him. Past it, washed, easy target. And he's not just cashing in financially. He's cashing in on the chance to prove everyone wrong. Moses needs a test, no doubt. But this is more than a test. This is the worst kind of exam. YT's not the type to respect hype or play along with a prospect's carefully managed rise. He's a spoiler, a man who's built a career on derailing golden boys. Moses' team might think they're getting a name for the resume. What they might actually get is a career setback that changes his trajectory completely. Bellew's praise for Moses sounds glowing until you hear the undertone, the overconfidence creeping in, calling him the future of the heavyweight division before he's faced a dangerous live opponent like YT is reckless.
But he's the next in line. I think he's the future of the heavyweight division. I think he's an outstanding talent. I think he's got a good team around him, Ben Davison and Lee Wiley. Wiley is the brains that study everything, and they use what we call video analysis now in boxing. They're the one team that you...
Exceptional against who? Overmatched opponents and journeymen. Size won't save Moses here. Experience, toughness, and the ability to take punishment. That's what matters in the heavyweight trenches. And in those areas, Moses is still a rookie. YT's been in with Joshua, Fury, Chisora, men who've hit him hard and kept coming. Moses has never faced that kind of storm. This fight is the collision point. Hype versus hard reality. On one side, Moses Itauma, the future built on safe matchmaking and highlight real wins. On the other, Dillian Whyte, battle-scarred, battle-tested, and still dangerous enough to rip up the script in one night. The stakes, sky high. If YT wins, he silences the doubters, reopens the door to big fights, and reminds the world he's still a top threat. If Moses wins, the hype machine goes into overdrive. But make no mistake, he's walking into a storm unlike anything he's faced before. YT's power, grit, and experience can't be learned in the gym. They're forged in the kind of fights that leave you changed forever. Mentally, YT thrives here. In the heat, under the lights, with the world watching. Moses has never been dragged into the dark, ugly corners of a heavyweight dogfight. That's where this battle will be decided, and that's where YT lives. One man's future, another man's redemption. Only one leaves with their stock sky high. So fight fans, here's the question. Are you riding with the war-hardened veteran, ready to break the hype? Or do you believe the untested prodigy can survive the fire? Drop your predictions below. Is this Dillian Whitey's night to crush the new kid? Or will Moses prove the hype was real all along?